Good afternoon to you and happy Friday. How are you doing? Greetings from Hurghada in Egypt. Do tell me, where in the world are you? How are you doing? Thank you for joining. Hello, hello. Greetings to you. Do tell me where you are and how you are. Are you having a good week? End of October, clocks going back in the UK this weekend. Do tell me how you are doing. Thank you for joining. Hello, hello, hello. How is your family? How is your business? How is your team? Do give me a wave. Thank you for joining. Hope you are having a good week. So I am coming to you live from Hurghada, as I mentioned. We are in Egypt, or we were in Cairo a few days ago for supporting one of my clients. You may have seen some of my social media posts. So the world's first robot artist. Her name is Ada, and I've been working with the team behind Ada for a couple of years now, actually, and she was part of an amazing exhibition at the pyramids last weekend. So we are here in Egypt to support her, and it really was the most amazing seeing the pyramids at night and seeing all these art exhibits and seeing Ada. It was really an amazing experience, and we were, as we love to do, we were going to tack on some diving as well, and that's why we're down in Hurghada. But my husband's hurt his back, so we've actually decided that we're not going to go. We were going to go on the liverboard on the diving boat yesterday, actually, which is why you might have seen this live was going to be next week, and then I've moved it forward because I was actually supposed to be on a dive boat, but I'm not. We are here in a hotel in Hurghada, and we decided to stay a few more days. I actually had some meetings in Cairo as well with a potential partner, so it's as usual with me, it's a mix of business and pleasure as always, and we're here just relaxing for a few days, and my husband is doing lots of swimming and trying to fix his back, so no diving this time. But I have started running again, which is really, really exciting. It just happened that the last time I ran was the 28th of March. So 6 months to the day, and yesterday was the first time I've run in 6 months. It's just such a lovely temperature now. Dubai has been so hot, but yesterday morning it was absolutely beautiful. So I went out running, which was amazing. It was fantastic, really, really slow. But maybe that's just me. I went out again this morning and it was really fun. So it's been a good week, actually. Do tell me, how are you doing? Where are you watching from? Do let me know where you are in the world, what you've been working on this week. Has it been a good one? For me, it's mainly been relaxing, but there has been some work. I was working, as I say, on Monday, having some meetings and also a couple of work calls and some coaching sessions. So yeah, it's been a bit of a blend, but having a couple of days off now. And today is another working day, which is why I am talking to you. Hope you are doing well. What have you been working on this week? What have you achieved this week? What are you proud of? Don't forget to look out for those little things, those indications that you're on the right track. And thank you to all of you that are referring friends and colleagues to me. I got another couple of referrals this week. So look, I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. Lots of new joiners continue to come into this community. Welcome to each and every one of you. I'm really passionate about serving you and giving you lots of great value, not just in these weekly lives from wherever I am in the world, but also in our Ask Me Anything slots, which are 3 p.m. UK time every Monday. So do feel free to post your questions and your challenges into this group. Let us know where you're stuck or what questions you have. I really hope that you and your business are thriving, but if you're not, do you know what? That's okay. Please let me know what support you need. I want you to know that you are not alone. Okay, so enough chit chat. Let's get going, shall we? Welcome to my weekly live at 12 noon UK time every Friday, where we talk about how you can simplify, grow, and enjoy your business. Whether you're just starting out or you're several years in, whether you want to build yourself a nice lifestyle business or you're chasing world domination, I am here to support you on your journey. Last time we were looking at your leadership style. We looked at different ways of of managing people and how you evolve and develop your leadership style over time. And we talked about how maybe you don't feel like a leader in your business yet if it's just you, or you're working with just a few people. But the point is that all of us are leaders in our businesses and in our communities. Your customers are looking to you for guidance, particularly in these turbulent times. It's important that each and every one of us steps up into our own leadership style. So if you didn't get a chance to join me last time, you can find a recording of that live, and all of the lives, in fact, are in this group. They are all organised into guides: simplify, grow and enjoy your business. 3 nice guides there. I like to keep things simple for you so that you can really quickly find the support that you need. Everything I do falls into one of those 3, and I want all of those 3 for you. Of course I do, but you'll know which one is going to be most relevant for you in terms of where you are right now and what support you need. So do let me know where you're stuck. What questions do you have? What challenges are you facing? And before I get started in today's topic, I want to just remind you of something. This is something that I've spoken about before, but I think it's a good reminder. You know, when you're feeling really great and confident, that's when you can look ahead and you can plan. That's when you can tweak and refine and test. And I had a session just earlier on this week where we were talking about this. You know, when you're feeling great, when you're feeling confident, you can look ahead, you can plan, you can tweak what you're doing. But do you know what? On those days where you're having a really tough time, and we all get them, that is the time to put your head down and focus on what you can get done. Don't look too far ahead, just head down and one foot in front of the other. Don't ask yourself too many questions. Don't lift your head up too high or look too far ahead. Don't try and plan. It's really, really difficult when we're having a bad day to think about all of that. It's just all too overwhelming. So just head down, keep showing up intentionally every day. If today is too much, then how about just this afternoon? What can you get done between now and the weekend? What can you accomplish in the next hour or so? As soon as you start doing something, anything, then you'll feel better. Trust yourself, yeah? And don't give yourself a hard time. We all have those bad days, and don't try and make strategies. It's all too overwhelming. Don't try and plan when you're having a bad day. It will pass. It always does. So just trust yourself, head down, do the work. And do reach out if you need support. That's what I'm here for. Okay, so today's live was inspired by several of my clients who are managing people in dispersed and distributed teams, who are struggling with the technology, who are finding working from home a challenge. And this week is all about remote working. And as you've probably guessed and probably know, this is something that I'm very, very passionate about. I've set my business up so that I can run it wherever I am in the world. I work with people all over the world, members of my team and my clients all over the world. And so remote working is something that I feel really, really passionately about. And it might not be for you. You know, you might not want to take it to the extreme that I do, but it is important that you get your head round it, because even if it's just members of your team that are working from home a little bit more often, or maybe somebody that you're outsourcing work to that isn't, you know, it's unusual now that we're all physically together in one place. And so aspects of remote working are really important for you to get your head around and get comfortable with whatever your situation is. So whether you're on your own in the business or you're managing a small team, you're unlikely to be dealing, as I say, with all of your suppliers and all of your customers on a face-to-face basis all the time. So how comfortable are you negotiating or managing people on the phone or via Zoom? How do you feel about not being able to see what people are doing? I know that a lot of people find that very challenging. I have a number of clients who pre-pandemic liked everybody in the office, liked to know what people were doing, and that transition that we all had to go through last year was really challenging for some of my clients, where suddenly we can't see what everybody's doing. Suddenly we're having to manage in a completely different way. And if you're working from home, how is that working out for you? You know, some people really like it. I have worked on and off from home for years, and it works for me. I like the balance. My husband doesn't like it so much. He needs to get out of the house. He prefers to, you know, go to a cafe or go to an office. Everybody's different. And so getting our heads around this more distributed model, whether it's for ourselves or the people that we're working with, is really important. That's what we are going to talk about today. So today's live, as always, is practical and simple. It's designed to give you some things to think about, but also some actions that you can take today. I'm going to talk through some of the changes that I'm seeing in terms of how we work together. I'm also going to talk about remote working and how that's affecting business owners and their teams. So sounds good? Let's get started then, shall we? This week, I've been reflecting quite a lot on how we manage these remote and distributed teams. As I say, it's come up with a number of my clients. Many of them are running companies like I am, with people all over the world. And even if that's not the case for you, members of your team may still be working from home at least some of the time. And so my view is this really is touching every single business owner, certainly every single business owner that I'm working with or talking to. So how do you keep everyone on track and pulling in the same direction? How can you trust that people will meet your expectations and to the required standards and timelines? How do you continue to foster that motivation and that connection between the people in your team? Even before the pandemic struck, flexible working was becoming more normal, more accepted in many, many companies. But the onus before the pandemic was always on the employee to prove that they could make it work. Particularly in larger companies, it was always, well, if you want to work from home, prove to me tell me how that's going to work. Now the tables, of course, have completely turned, and now it's up to the employer to argue the case for returning back to normal, whatever that is. If you're somebody who's developed your style of management by having a personal impact, and I know that will be the case for many of you, walking the floors and be able to see what's happening, you know, being in contact with your people. This sudden change that we're all going through over the last 18 months is likely to be presenting you with some uncomfortable challenges. Maybe you were okay with it temporarily, but maybe you thought everything was going to go back to normal. Maybe you worry that you're losing control and that your people are taking advantage. I certainly have one client who was very, very concerned about people taking the mick, quite frankly. Perhaps your concern is for the mental health of individual team members, or maybe that standards may be slipping without you really being able to see what's going on or really being able to intervene. Almost every day there's a new example of a boss who's insisting that everybody return to the office immediately. We've all seen those media reports, right? And what is really interesting as I read those reports and I read those interviews and I speak to my clients is many are actually encountering much more resistance than maybe they anticipated, because those leaders have developed their style in a certain way, and it's just an assumption that everything is going to go back to the way it was before. But it's a bit more complicated than that. On the other hand, of course, so we see all these bosses saying, I want everybody back in the office. I want everybody to come back. I want it to return to how it was before. But on the other hand, there are also plenty of stories of companies that are completely embracing the new reality and the necessary flexibility that comes with it. So there's a real balanced picture, and I think we're still in a state of flux, and it seems to me that over the next year or two we're going to learn a lot about ways of working and how is this all going to settle, how is this all going to pan out. My very strong view is that once Pandora's box is opened, it cannot be closed. Things will never ever return exactly to the way they were before. And that's because we can't unlearn what we've experienced in the last 18 months. We can't forget those questions that we've asked ourselves and the possibilities that we've all seen about how we work and live. This, of course, presents some very unique challenges for companies of all sizes, and in particular when it comes to management and managing people. Although it's easy to focus on, maybe people taking advantage of the situation, if that's really what's concerning you, then you're kind of missing the point. And this is what I spoke with my client I was telling you about. He was really struggling with this thought that maybe people were taking advantage, maybe people were taking the mick. And I told him, if that's what you're worried about, you're actually missing the point. If you're worrying about people taking cat naps, enjoying afternoon walks, or even indulging in some unscheduled sexiness. Did you see that article about people there's more afternoon sex happening apparently, and some bosses are getting a bit upset about that. But do you know what? If you're worried about what your people are doing when they should be working, then you're actually looking in the wrong place, in my view and in my experience. If your management style was founded on having people in the office for a certain number of hours every day, then it is time for you to change. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I never do. It is time for you to change your style. Micromanagement is particularly difficult, I'm happy to say, when working remotely. Okay, so here is the point. Activity is meaningless, absolutely meaningless, and yet this is what so many managers obsess about. What does it matter if it takes somebody 1 hour or 3? Why do you care how long it takes somebody? What is important is output, is the result. That should be the only thing you care about. Why do you care about activity? Not relevant. You care about the output, about the result, outcomes. So what are your expectations in terms of outcomes? Is that clear? That's what you need to be focused on. If your people are not working enough, then maybe it's time to look at raising your standards and being clearer about your expectations. But that's on you, not on them. If they're not working hard enough, then maybe you're not giving them enough work. Output, not activity. Doesn't matter how long it takes people. Output, what are you paying them to achieve? Empower your people to take ownership of their work. Really, really important. Empower them to take ownership. Tell them what it is that you want them to achieve, and stop obsessing about whether they're going for a walk in the afternoon. If that makes them more productive, fantastic. Encourage that. There are, of course, specific challenges that come from working remotely, and these are likely to exacerbate any underlying problems that already exist in your business. And this is really what I'm seeing is, there are challenges, there are issues underlying, and remote working is just exposing those issues. It's not causing the issues, it's actually exposing issues that were already there. Many good companies have either actively or passively disengage members of their team. So most companies, or many companies, have members of their team that are disengaged, either, as I say, kind of actively or passively. And what happens when we're working remotely, there's a further impact, there's a deepening impact on that disconnectivity, that lack of connection that people were already feeling. And that's because it's more difficult when people are working remotely for them to feel connected to the mission and goals of the business. And that is your job, to make sure that connection still exists, that people understand the link between what they are doing, the outcomes, what you're asking them to do, and how that links through to what you're trying to achieve as a company. Many people do find themselves feeling isolated and distracted when working from home. That is for sure. Working remotely is likely to enhance any issues that you already have with any silos in your business because it makes communication harder. You have to work harder at it. When people feel out of the loop, they tend to switch off, and many people just miss that face-to-face contact with their manager and their colleagues. So it's not without its challenges, for sure. It is not without its challenges, but there are upsides also. And so as a good manager, it's about finding that balance to meet the needs of your people and remembering that they are all individuals. Everybody's got a different situation that they're dealing with. Everybody is wired differently. And so it's always about finding that balance. Remote working can be fraught with challenges, as I've just outlined, but there are several things, concrete things actions you can take to make things easier for everybody. Okay, so are you ready for some top tips? My top 10 tips for remote working. Number one, really super important, communication. Before the pandemic hit, I was already advising my clients to communicate more than they feel is necessary. I am always saying to CEOs, you need to tell people more. You need to communicate more often. And now more of us are working remotely, even more important. Even more vital that you are communicating more, you are giving out more information, you're giving people more opportunities to ask questions and connect with you and with others. Expectations and outcomes must be crystal clear, and you need to repeat them often. Just because you've said it doesn't mean it's been understood. It is communication, as I always say, is a two-way process, and so until the other person has understood, you have not communicated, you have not completed your communication task. So communication really is super important, making sure that your expectations and critically what the outcome is that you're focused on. Stop focusing on activity, it's a complete waste of your time. Okay, next, a daily rhythm. I advise my clients to have a short daily check-in with their people. Now that might seem overkill, but it is a really great way to establish and maintain that working rhythm. Just 5-10 minutes every morning. What's everybody working on? How are we doing? Any issues? Anything anyone needs any help with? It's just a really great way of managing a team and getting them to feel connected, and just again keeping that sort of drumbeat of the business. It keeps that connection also between teammates. Use video if you can. Video really makes this a lot. It's not as good as being in a room together, but that isn't always possible. So turn those videos on and encourage your people to do that. Okay, number 3, technology. We've all had a crash course in digital transformation, haven't we, in the last couple of years? You know, companies have cycled through what might have taken them quite a few years in just a short time. There are, of course, many tools that aid communication as well as collaboration and also tracking progress. Make sure you're taking full advantage of those tools and make sure your team is leveraging the technology as much as they can. It doesn't necessarily need to be you if you're not particularly a technological person. Get a member of your team to look at the different tools and see what can be used to increase that connection, that collaboration, and also making sure that you're all on the same page about how you're tracking progress towards those objectives. Number 4, ways of working. It's all very well having all of this communication and technology, but setting out clear rules of engagement is absolutely essential if you want a happy and productive team. As I've said before, nothing causes people to feel frustrated and angry and disillusioned and disengaged more than expectations not being clear, lack of clarity. So really clear rules of engagement. Be really clear about those timelines, about the rhythm, about the expectations. Set out a clear, this is the way we're going to do this, so that everybody knows. Allow people to input their suggestions, allow people to make comments, obviously it's not just your way, but make sure it's really, really clear. Agree between all the team members how you are going to work together. Number 5, expectations. I've spoken about this already, but it's always a really important aspect of management, whether working remote or not. But it's so important when you are working remotely. It is much easier when you are sitting next to somebody to kind of keep an eye on what's happening. But when you're not physically co-located, it's really even more important that your expectations are really clear. Don't assume that your people know what is expected. Spell it out and ask them for feedback to ensure alignment, to ensure that they've understood. Number 6, focus. Put your focus on outcomes rather than activity. Define clear goals and desired results and let your people execute. Empower them to reach the high standard, but in their way. So people often, when they grow teams, they often worry that they're going to have to lower their standards. Yeah, nobody can do it as well as me. I'm going to have to drop my standards. It's just not true. You can still set the standard. You can still maintain that high standard. You just need to let go of the control over how people reach that standard. But if that standard is very clear, you can that can be the expectation. Yeah, you just need to let them do it their way. Okay, resources. It's all very well focusing on outcomes, as I'm saying, but you must ensure, of course, that your people are set up for success. Do they have all the training and resources they need? Do they have what they need to reach those outcomes? What support can you provide? What blockers can you remove? Your job is to empower your people. Your job is to make your people successful. Your job is to give them the resources that they need and remove any blockers that might be inhibiting their progress. Okay, number 8, purpose. This is really, really important that people understand why we're doing what we're doing. Make sure that you're really clear about why you're asking people to do the tasks that you're setting. The more people understand the reason or the purpose behind what they're doing, the more likely they are to feel connected to you, to the mission of the company. Really important that people understand why you are asking them to do, why their piece of the puzzle, if you like, is so important, how that connects to the broader mission and goals of the business. Connection. One of the most important things that you can do as a remote manager is to encourage interaction, collaboration and connection between your people. So don't think of it as you as the spoke in the middle and everybody around connecting with you. You want them also to be connecting with each other. Carve out regular moments to have fun together as a team. Lots and lots and lots of opportunities to collaborate and have fun online. Lots of innovation in that space as well. Some really fun activities that I've been involved in with my team, but also with my clients' teams. Lots of innovation out there in terms of how we can have fun when we're not necessarily together in the same place. And then the final one is around support. So you need to understand that different people will deal with working remotely in very different ways. And so they need your support and understanding, and they also need your flexibility, which, as I said, if you're focused on objectives, is so much easier than if you're focused on how many hours people are working. Like, who cares? You need to try and acknowledge everybody's unique situation and be human about it. Yeah, understand that people are dealing with different pressures. Some people have a lot of distractions in their home environment, and it's about helping them work through setting themselves up for success as well. It's about working through what they need, how you can support them, what communication they need, what rhythm is going to work for them. Also, even maybe talking about their environment. How can they set up their environment, and how can you help that to set them up for success? Okay, so they are my 10 top tips for remote working: communication, daily rhythm, technology, ways of working, expectations, focus, resources, purpose, connection, and support. So what do you think? What's resonating most with you? Do let me know. What questions do you have about remote working? Do let me know in the comments. What's your next life? What's your next life? What's your next step in life, in business? What do you need to make you feel more confident? Do book in a clarity call with me and let's get you moving past whatever is blocking your progress and on to the next challenge. You can find the link to my calendar in the pinned post at the top of this group. I'm looking forward to talking with you. I had a really great clarity call with a member of this community last week, and when she got on the phone, she said to me, "How much are you going to charge me for this?" I said, "It's absolutely free." So I'm going to reiterate that now. Free clarity call for members of this community. And the only purpose of that call is to give you some clarity. There's going to be no selling. There's going to be no trying to push you on anything. There's no charge. There's nothing hidden with me. What you see is what you get. Free clarity call to give you some clarity and get you moving past whatever is blocking your progress and onto that next challenge. There's always a next challenge. Before I close up for today, I do want to give you some next steps, some really concrete things that I suggest you do as a result of today's live. So firstly, think about your own working arrangements. How are they set up? How are they working for you? What's lacking or needs refining? Then talk to the people that you're working with. Review my top 10 tips for remote working. Which ones are striking a chord with you? Which ones could help the people that you are trying to support? And thirdly, you know what's coming. Take some action. What can you work on to make remote working more effective for you, for your business, for your team, even for your clients, for your suppliers? Please do let me know how you get on with this, and do get in touch if you need any support or if you want to talk it through with me. Don't let yourself get overwhelmed. You can do this, I promise you. I'm going to close up today's live with 2 quotes about remote working. The first one is from the American entrepreneur Jason Fried. Most fears that have to do with people working remotely stem from a lack of trust. And secondly, from the Norwegian historian Christian Louis Long, technology is a useful servant, but a dangerous master. I get that it can be hard to trust people and even harder to trust technology. It's all about you defining what good looks like to you and to your business. Are you ready to face what needs to happen in your business? Let's get you in the driving seat and building intentionally towards what you want. Decide what is really important to you and your business and stick to it consistently. Building a business is tough. It can be a really long, hard road. Make sure that you're building something meaningful to you that will sustain you through the tough times. Be intentional. Say no to things that don't serve you and the goal that you want to achieve. And as I pass back over to you, as I do every week, that is really what I want you to take away from today's live. What is the outcome that you're seeking? What is the result? What is the goal? Put your energy into getting really clear about that, but allow yourself to do things in your way. Yes, by all means, learn from me, learn from others. But when you synthesize all of that learning, when you bring it inside of you, what comes out must be congruent with you. It must work for you. If you want to build a huge multinational business, go for it. Fantastic. I am here to support you. But if you just want to do your thing, then that's okay too. Focus on listening to yourself and ask yourself what you need so that you can spend more time in your flow. And don't forget that the opposite of flow is friction. And so if things aren't really working, just take a bit of a step back, take a breath, take a pause, focus on getting some clarity, get some objective input, hire the services of a business coach, book in a clarity call with me, take some time to look at what you're doing and where an easier path might start from and lead to. Ask yourself, what would a business that really works for me look like? Do let me know your thoughts and questions on this or any other topic relating to how to simplify, grow and enjoy your business. Do let me know what area of business you would like me to speak about next. Also, who do you know who could benefit from joining this community or having a conversation with me? If you haven't already claimed your free copy of my first book, The Real Entrepreneur, go to therealentrepreneur.book.com. If you prefer an Audible or Kindle version, you can find those on Amazon. Check out the accountability section of my book for more on managing remotely. Get the foundations right and you can build from there. I really hope that you have a wonderful weekend, whatever you're doing and whoever you're doing it with. I wish you a happy and peaceful time. As always, if you want to talk, you know where I am. Please remember to be where you are in the journey. You don't need to know it all and you don't have to do it all. And please be kind to yourself. Take care, stay safe and keep in touch. Happy Friday.